Find the perimeter of the figure. I've recopied the figure here without units, just for simplicity. And to find the perimeter, we need to add up not only the four sides, but we'll have to add in the two unknown sides, which means we need to find them. To find the vertical piece, notice that the vertical pieces on the left, the 7 and the unknown question mark, take up the same vertical distance as the piece on the right, which we know is 15. So 7 plus the question mark has to equal 15. We can find the value of the question mark by subtracting 15 minus 7, which gives us 8. So that 8 is the unknown vertical piece, which means we can also put the 8 in our sum down below. We also need to find the length of the missing horizontal side. Notice that the two horizontal sides, the 5 and the question mark, take up the same distance from left to right as the side up top that's labeled with 14. So the 5 plus the question mark must equal 14, which means we can find the question mark by subtracting. 14 minus 5 leaves 9 for the unknown side. It goes here, and it goes into the expression that we're trying to add. So now that we know all 6 sides of the diagram, we can add them all up, and we get 58. Because this is a word problem where the sides are measured in meters, that's 58 meters. So this is our final answer. Cabot Creamery is packing a pallet of 20-pound boxes of cheddar cheese to send to a local restaurant. There are 5 layers of boxes on the pallet, and each layer is 4 boxes wide and 3 boxes deep. A. How many boxes are in one layer? B. How many boxes are on the pallet? And C. What is the weight of the cheese on the pallet? For part A, it wants to know how many boxes are in one layer. The question tells us that each layer is 4 boxes wide by 3 boxes deep. If you look at this sketch, you'll see there's 4 boxes in the close row, 4 boxes in the middle row, and 4 boxes in the furthest row. The quickest way to count those up would be 4 times 3. 4 times 3 is 12. So there are 12 boxes per layer. And that's the answer for part A. For part B, the question asks, how many boxes are on the pallet? The question tells us that there are 5 layers of boxes on the pallet. Here's a sketch. And we already discovered that there were 12 boxes per layer. So if each of those 5 layers have 12 boxes, then the quickest way to proceed is 12 times 5. This gives us 60 boxes. So there are 60 boxes on the pallet. Part C asks, what is the weight of the cheese on the pallet? The question says that each of the boxes weighs 20 pounds. In the previous part, we found there were 60 boxes in the whole pallet. So if we multiply 60 boxes times the 20 pounds per box, we get a result of 1,200. And the units are pounds. Our final answer is that the weight of all the cheese on the pallet is 1,200 pounds. A plant for a tea company has bagging machines capable of bagging 2,000 bags of tea per minute. If the plant runs 17 hours a day, how many tea bags are produced in one day? Well, the question says they can make 2,000 bags per minute and that they run 17 hours per day. We have the information we need, but unfortunately, some of it is in minutes and some of it is in hours per day. Having the number of minutes that the plant runs is the key to solving this problem. If the machine operates for 1 minute, they'll make 2,000. If it operates for 2 minutes, they'll make 4,000. And if it operates for 5 minutes, they'll make 10,000. 5 times the 2,000 per minute. So to find how many tea bags are produced in one day, we need to convert 17 hours per day into minutes per day. Recall that there's 60 minutes per hour. So if we multiply the 60 minutes times the 17 hours that the plant is operating, we can see that they operate for a total of 1,020 minutes. If we take those number of minutes and we multiply it by the number of bags that are being produced in each of those minutes, the result is 2,040,000. The units are tea bags, and that's our final answer. In summary, if the company can produce 2,000 bags per minute and they operate for 17 hours per day, they'll be able to make 2,040,000 tea bags in a day. A star athlete at a local college scored a total of 646 points during the 36 basketball games she played in the 2004 regular season. What was the average number of points she scored per game? The formula that we can use to find an average is to take the sum of all the data items and divide it by the number of data items. In this question, it says she scored a total of 646 points during the 36 games that she played. So we can rewrite the formula as total points in the season divided by the number of games. The total points goes up top, and the games played goes on the bottom. And now we do a division, the top divided by the bottom. And that will give us the average number of points she scored per game. This is the value we get from our calculator. But now notice that the question says round to the nearest hundredth, which is 2 places to the right of the decimal point. To round to the nearest hundredth, we need to look to the place to the right of it, which I've circled here. And it tells us what to do with the 4. Since the place we've circled is 4 or less, it tells us we need to round down. So our value rounds down to 17.94. And the units is points per game. And that's our final answer. The diameter of a Ferris wheel is 330 feet. Find its circumference. This question deals with a Ferris wheel, which is a circle. And it's discussing its circumference, which is the distance around a circle. It also mentions the diameter, which is the distance across the circle through the center. We often call the diameter d. And the formula, circumference equals pi times the diameter, will give us the circumference we're looking for. I should note that some of the circle problems that you'll encounter give you the radius, which is only the distance from the center to the circle. You can use the same formula if you recognize that the diameter is twice the radius. So if they give you the radius, you could double it and use it in the formula that's presented here. Or there's a special formula that involves the radius. Circumference equals 2 times pi times r, the radius. You actually can use either one depending on the situation. Just be careful that you know which one you've got. Now we're ready to start part A, which says give an exact answer. Since the question's given us the diameter, we'll use this formula. And our diameter is 330 feet, so we're ready to find the circumference. The circumference equals pi times the diameter, where the diameter is 330. We can simplify. C equals 330 pi. We're told to leave our answer in terms of pi, so this expression is simplified, except we need units, which are feet. And that completes part A. Part B says to give an approximation using 3.14 for pi. We can use the information that we already worked through in part A and bring down the result. Now, because we want to approximate for pi, we replace pi with 3.14. Be careful if you're using a calculator. You may have a pi button, but that pi button will use more digits than 3.14 in the approximation, and so your answers may not match. Since this question is specifically telling us to use 3.14, that's what we need to do. When we multiply, we get 1036.2. We are asked to round to the nearest hundredth as needed, but our answer only has one decimal place, so there's no rounding necessary. And this is our final answer. In summary, if the Ferris wheel has a diameter of 330 feet, its circumference is exactly 330 pi feet, and its circumference is approximately 1036.2 feet. The area of a rectangle is 36.9 square feet. If its width is 4.5 feet, find its length. We have a formula for area that says the area equals length times width. In variables, that's A equals LW. Typically, when we're using the area formula, we know the length and the width, and we multiply them together to find the area. In this question, we do have the width, but we do not have the length. We're asked to find the length. Instead, we're given the area. So we're in this situation where we know the area and the width. So we'll need to divide the area by the width to find the length. Let's fill in the equation with what we know. We don't know what L is, so we're going to just rewrite that down below. A, the area, is 39.6, and W, the width, is 4.5. We can find the length by dividing the area, 39.6, by the width, 4.5. And this gives us 8.2. The units are feet. Notice that in this question, the length and the width both are measured in feet, and the area is measured in square feet. This is our final answer. In summary, if you know the area and you know the width, you can divide the area by the width to find the length. The air fleet of a company includes 120 planes of type A. These planes make up 5/13 of the company's fleet. How many aircraft make up the entire fleet of the company? When one quantity is a fraction of another quantity, we can determine which of these two equations will fit the situation. If we have the total, then we'll multiply it by the fraction to find the part. If we know the part, then we divide it by the fraction to find the total. Notice that it says these planes make up 5/13 of the company's fleet, so that will be the fraction. And it says that the air fleet of the company includes 120 planes of type A. And we need to figure out if that's the total or the part. It says these 120 planes make up 5/13 of the company's fleet. So it indicates that these 120 planes are part of the entire fleet. If they're the part, then we can divide that by the fraction to find the total. So we'll use this equation. The total equals the part, the 120 planes of type A, divided by the fraction 5/13. Using our calculator, we get 312. And the units are planes in the entire fleet. And that's our final answer. In summary, if there are 120 planes of type A, and these planes make up 5/13 of the total fleet, then there are 312 planes in the entire fleet.